Welcome to
Crazy, right?
A podcast
Be your own person.
for those affected by
Crazy, right?
mental health,
I wanted to just try it.
Crazy,
It's something that I've struggled with for a while.
featuring live improvised music
Now I finally got my head right again.
by your host,
am I right? Crazy,
It feels good to talk about it.
right? Crazy, right?
Dave Asher.
My guest today is Eric Majeski. He is an innovator, a musician, and a holistic healer/counselor in training. He's currently in grad school cultivating new solutions for the addiction epidemic and studying mental health counseling. Eric also performs and tours across North America with his band, The Mystic Hearts. Eric, thanks for joining me here today in my studio. I'm going to step over here to my piano. So Eric, we met, or at least the first time that we apparently were together was at a party that a mutual friend was at, our great friend Josh Draper. That party, if I recall, was very conscious. Is that a phrase that you throw around at times?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Do you have an association with that expression, getting conscious? Or is that not your lingo?
No, I would say it is. It's synonymous with getting present.
Conscious and present.
Yeah, being fully here now. Living mindfully on purpose.
Would you take me back, Eric, to a point in your life when you now can refer back to and think, oh, those days I was not present?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I drank pretty heavily for a good portion of my life. And
What year are we talking about here? Give me a starting date for this.
starting date? Oh, teenage years, and then off and on for the next 20 years. But the latter part of that, working through work stress and depression and various things. It's like late 90s, early 2000s, quite heavily. Yeah, self-medicating. So that would be a time.
And what is it that you were self-medicating? What was the condition that you were attempting to medicate with alcohol use?
I would say I would answer two ways on that spectrum. One, the more terrestrial or practical is just like high levels of stress, working in a high intensity field. But underneath that was more of this creative side, this existential angst. I can see now I was medicating the latent musician that was stuck inside of me.
So you're working in a stressful field, and that takes you living that life. You're not in the moment very often, and then inside of you is some artist who needs to come out, and as a result of not giving voice to that part of yourself, that lack of expressing your presence caused this disconnect, and you felt compelled, or it led you on this path of self-medication.
Yes, indeed. That's a very apt summary. And I wasn't aware early, Dave, of all of the how creative this journey was. At first, it was an answer to stress, like find a more holistic way to deal with it, acupuncture, various therapies, talk therapy, traditional. So it was first a path of just how do I deal with this stress?
At what point did you become aware that there was this problem? Was there a moment when you would you consider yourself to be an addict or an alcoholic?
As part of destigmatizing those words, I don't really use them that much. For people that do, God bless you, and I acknowledge that. It may be semantics to some, but I say person in addiction, or a person suffering from addiction, or a person self-medicating. And I missed the first part of that question. Can you?
So the first part was the reason why I brought up those terms,
Yep.
Addict or alcoholic, is I was looking to get a little bit to the background of when you first defined yourself as someone, or accepted, or recognized, or became aware that you had a drinking problem.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. The seed of it was I had achieved some element of material success, like all the things that were conditioned into me to value or to believe. Gilda Radner said, if you win the rat race, you're still a rat, sort of thing. And it's like I had some level of achievement, but still no satisfaction, and just really still in a dark place. And like there was a disconnect with that. There was dissonance. Wait, I've done everything I was like educated or conditioned or taught. And
would you take me back to that conditioning and that teaching? Where did that come from? How was that instilled in you to join the rat race?
I was very mathematical when I was younger and had some gifts in those areas, and was also very competitive, both academically and athletically. And, I received a lot of wonderful things from those experiences, but I was very competitive. It seems like a different lifetime, because now I'm hyper cooperative. And it was competing, like at a major level. There was no there once I got to the end. I think Jim Carrey once said something like, I wish everyone could have fame and money, the experience of those, because they would see that those aren't the real answers for what we seek.
So you're now in the rat race, and unfulfilled. You've achieved monetary success. You've achieved career success by the standards of the rat race, and there's something missing. And so take me on the journey of how you began to self-medicate and what that looked like.
Sure. Just a lot of disenchantment, the unfulfillment, like you were saying, and it was painful. I felt very alienated. Here, people are celebrating things that I'm doing or achieving, and I would go home and just feel empty. Again, not knowing anything else existed at the time, so to numb that pain and despair seemed very was a way to shut it off.
So you, rather than feeling that despair, you chose to use as a means to maybe, are you saying to feel nothing?
To numb it. To numb it.
And so how long, it sounded like that was in the mid-late 90s? And
correct.
For how long were you in that mode of maintaining the rat race but numbing with the self-medication?
Till about 2002. The firm that I was working with had a change in direction, and we had the opportunity just to switch companies, put a new shingle on the door, so to say. But I saw my out, and I exited. I left. My health was suffering, even though I was making really good money, and I just had an instinct or an intuition to leave.
When you say your health was suffering, are you referring to the self-medication, or were there other things as well?
It all hovered around that or centered around that, but yeah, physical energy was lower, sleep difficulties, sleep disorder.
At this time, were you in a relationship? Were you married or dating anyone?
I got married. My first marriage was what 2002. Yeah, and then my child came in 2003, and
It sounds like this was right around the time you were just beyond recognizing that you wanted to make a life change.
yes,
Are those things connected on your journey? The wedding, the decision to get married, and the decision to make a lifestyle change in respect to self-medication or a career path?
I love being a dad. I absolutely love being a dad, and when Ella arrived, I knew things had to change to be the dad that I knew I could be, and consider her very connected to my awakening. The desire for change, that love drove me, and it took a couple other, how do I say? Like, I recognized that in 2003, there was a couple more pits and valleys I had to traverse to fully embody that awareness and get fully present. But the motivation was there when she arrived. I didn't know that another world existed, but I knew that I would try for her, and I did.
When you say another world existed, was that so? Having the birth of Ella gave you a sense of that there was a greater purpose out there.
Yeah.
And what were the steps that you took along the way to discovering what I'm imagining is discovering a deep understanding of what that purpose is?
Oh, it's a deep question. I appreciate you asking it. So in 2005, she was 2, I was put on a medication that didn't resonate. It was the wrong one, and it caused some changes in energy and mood. And anyway, I'm happy to fill in any blanks, but basically what happened, I started 4 businesses at the same time, and they all pretty much collapsed at the same time between 2006 and 2008. And that's where the deep awakening or initiation or transformation occurred. And
I am curious about those businesses because are those businesses that were still in the industry of being in the financial space, or were those now business ventures that were related to this awakening as a result of Ella's entering into your world?
I love the question. It's the latter. I invested in a spiritual bookstore and a self-help bookstore. It was aptly named Transitions Bookstore, and it was concurrent with my own personal transition. That was a great decision. Not all, like, it might have been the best business decision, but it was a great life decision, and I still know many of the beautiful souls that I met there. I also tried to start a record label and a small media company. And, that didn't work out so well. But again, I can see how I wanted to be the musician, and that was a good lesson in, my music career started after that. I can get to that in a bit, but that was I was searching for something that would work as part of this awakening.
Hence the 4 businesses. And then you mentioned that this was around a long path to recognizing that your true calling, or one of your true callings, was as a musician yourself.
Yes.
did you play any music as a child? What was your first instrument? How did that look like? What was your first exposure to music?
I played trumpet for a couple of years in grammar school. I remember loving my sister's piano, but not playing it too much, and just got put on these other tracks, like this academic and athletic track. So I had a little bit of musical experience, but not too much.
And then in this period of attempting to begin businesses that were more spiritually fulfilling, including starting a record label, at what point and what did it look like when you picked up an instrument again? What was it, a guitar?
Picked up the guitar. I'd started hacking around a little bit earlier than that, but I started studying intentfully in 2010. Towards the end of these 4 businesses and recovering, my life and becoming fully present, I started studying with an addictions counselor, a Native American elder. His name took me years to put this connection together, but his name is Singing Man, and he came into my life in 2008, and through him and through some other modalities, I got fully sober and present. And
so, what does it mean to you? What does life look like before getting present and after getting present? What is the experience of life as someone who, as a result of music and working with Singing Man, if I'm getting that right?
Yeah, you are. Thank you for the question. It's certain aspects are remarkably similar, but the commitment and the purpose in just feeling all of life has to offer. Feeling is healing. I work with people in addiction and getting my counseling degree too. What's different is I feel now, and that opens up so much connection and creativity with the people I love and the collaborators. And that's not just feeling all the good, it's feeling the heavy stuff too. But just a commitment and devotion to embracing all of life. That's what's different. I still, back then, Dave, I still had a decent sized heart. We did lots of philanthropic work, but it was, there just was an inauthenticity for me, but I didn't know any better. So it's like, when you know.
What were some of the techniques that Singing Man used to achieve this awakening?
Yeah, he taught me his ways. We'd sit in sweat lodges, and years later, you come up with these axioms that seem simple, but they're so true. Like, easier to find my true nature in nature. That happened. I just got a lot of time to, contemplate, think. I did 4 vision quests with him. I just got more connected to the earth, and that in and of itself was very grounding and helped me get present. He taught me rituals to and practices, to help manage the chaos of life.
You mentioned earlier, just a few moments ago, that feeling is healing. And before we began, you mentioned that you are a songwriter. Do you have any songs that you have written that are along those lines, where the theme of the song might be feeling is healing, or something similar to that? Or a first song that comes to mind, if that's the request? Play us something about how feeling is healing. Any song jump to mind?
It's an older spiritual that I rearranged. I didn't write it, but I arranged it in my own song, Mother, I Feel You.
Is it a song that you can play on guitar?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share that with us?
Yeah, for sure. Be honored.
Okay. Take it away.
All right. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I hear you in the river song. Turn the waters flowing on and on. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh.
Thank you so much. Let me take that guitar from you. That was great. So I'm definitely hearing a lot of appreciation given to nature.
Yes.
Eric, are you vegan? Do you have? How does nature and a respect for the earth? How does that manifest itself in your daily life?
I live near the forest preserve and go for walks and hikes and have plants in my house, and I take several trips to always get my nature quotient, you know. Yeah, I have a mindful diet. I'm not vegan, but I eat a lot less meat than I used to, and just mindful, putting a lot of fresh produce into my body, greens and grains, and making sustainable choices. You know, addiction and consumption are kind of synonymous. They're one and the same, and I don't stigmatize that. We all are working through things, but I feel like many of us, and I'll just say for me, consumption was I would employ that instead of these matters of the spirit or creativity or music as a replacement ritual.
Would you say that one of the difficulties or illnesses that folks have in the modern age is attempting to make themselves feel better by consuming?
Yes.
And is this consuming including food, including retail, just a general way of whether some people are using alcohol, other people are using food, other people are using property? Gambling,
Sex, the internet, you know, just there's a lot of devices and distractions that keep us from our true authentic self. And maybe that term gets bandied about, but you know it when you know it because it's you, you know, like it's been gratifying to find it for myself, but it's also really gratifying, Dave, to watch someone else connect the dots to their own path or self or purpose, you know, and put down the drugs and put down the bottle.
Are you a teacher?
Yes. I've been doing some form of spiritual coaching and recovery coaching for a decade, but I wanted to be more inclusive and expand my reach, and that's why I'm going back the academic route. I'm writing my integrative theory of addiction and recovery.
When you are teaching and coaching, is this something that is sustaining you professionally, or do you have another job?
Right now, it's a combination of that, school, and my music career.
And tell me a little bit more about your music career. Do you perform live? Do you release music?
I do. Perform with my band, the Mystic Hearts. I'd say we sing a form of positive soul and mystic pop folk with a lot of vocal harmonies. And it's real feel-good music.
Is there a song of that you'd be willing to share? Do you play guitar on those and sing?
Yeah, I would sing one.
Great.
There's a new song. This will be on the new album, and it's called "Don't Rush the Morning Sun." I guess, yeah, it is what it sounds like. That darkness passes, and but sometimes we have to be patient, and while things fall into place for us. There's times you don't wanna wake up, times you just want it to end, times you wanna break up from the madness my mind needs to mend. But there's no rest for a soul on a mission, a noble test to see the faith is true. Turn those demons into diamonds from the pressures of living your truth. Oh, the darkness ain't always so fun. Yeah, the darkness never seems to come undone. But in time, you'll be just fine, as long as you don't try to rush the morning sun. It's the witching hour and the veils are thin, wayward spirits trying not to be seen. You integrate your sadness, then one day you're awake in the dream. But there's no rest for a soul on a mission, a noble test to see the faith is true. Turn those demons into diamonds from the pressures of living your truth. Oh, the darkness ain't always so fun. Yeah, the darkness never seems to come undone. But in time, you'll be just fine, as long as you don't try to rush the morning sun. You're running from fear, running from worry, you're running from self-doubt. Don't you think that it's time that you see that you're worried? Your spirit is trying to get out. Oh, 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 the darkness ain't always so fun. Yeah, the darkness never seems to come undone. But in time, you'll be just fine, as long as you don't try to rush the morning sun.
Thank you, Eric. That was so great to listen to. The lyric about the pressure of living your truth.
Yeah.
Would you say that you feel like you are living your truth in this moment?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. You know, I am fully present, and doing an interview to hopefully spread a little bit of awareness or share about creativity that might be meaningful to someone, and getting a chance to express myself, and having you play the piano, which is near and dear to me. It's a different interview format. Like, it feels also very present, and yes.
Eric, would you sing an improvised song with me about sharing and healing and being present?
Sure, I would try.
If we try something like this.
You belong here. You belong
You belong here. Free your minds, make it aligned. You'll see a sign, it's all so divine. Free your heart, let it start being a part of love that's smart. Free your soul, it'll help you grow into your role. You belong, you belong, you belong here. All the aliens, the black sheep, the contrarians, the misfits, the left behind, the destitute, the stuck, the uncreative, all the unloved, the unforgiven, the ones who ain't living. You belong.
Thank you for doing that with me, Eric.
That was so lovely. Thank you for asking, Dave. Really enjoyed the piano a lot.
Thank you. What does that... Now I'm wanting to hear more about the morning sun.
Yep. Yeah, Dave, it's just that, like, just the sun always comes up. I mean, there's a huge metaphor there if one wants that, but I'm just the unchanging consistency of that the sun always provides. And even if there's clouds, like, the sun's still there, it's just beyond the clouds. The subtext there is not to rush the process. Who am I to know better than what I would call a higher power or creator or the universe to know exactly why something's happening in real time? But I can maintain my curiosity with a faith that that sun's coming up, and also surrender the need to rush the answer. When I suffer is when I willfully need an answer that's not ready for me yet. And yeah, don't rush the morning sun. Wait for it.
I'm gonna try and sing a song, and please feel free to join me, because I definitely relate to that pain. I'll put it as pain of when you're not feeling as present, and it is possibly because you're not open to that, as you referred to it, higher power and what your purpose is meant to be in a given moment. Do you feel like what is the breakdown of how much of your purpose you feel like is something that you are creating, or how much of your purpose do you feel like is you breathing into a higher spirit's vision for you?
Wow, deep question, bro. I can cycle back around. This is what comes for me. When I'm in my full alignment, fully present, there's no before. Like, it's a knowing. I guess some might call it Taoist in nature. You know, the phrase would be, can I wait for rightful action to emerge? And it's like, it just becomes me. So am I doing it or is the doing me? Man, I've experienced it as both. So, but I just know it by how it feels, and it's just a deep intuitive and instinctual knowing of that there is a higher force and guidance that is both using me as an instrument and that the energy becomes. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. How does that factor in to being a father?
It's present. Like, the best thing I've discovered about father, I knew this from day one. Like, be present. It's not the amount of time, it's the quality of time. Like, fully present with the child, and to play and just be fully immersed in whatever they're doing, and I bring that energy to my recovery practice now. It's just like total curiosity in the creative expressions of the clients and peers I work with. Like, open-mindedness, letting them tell me their story, letting them have their moment, and moments it's to express freely. So I learned that through raising a child, and now I just bring that into my healing and recovery practice. It just so happens that it's very healing for people who might still be working on full expression.
I'm imagining that there's a range of reasons that people might seek your guidance and coaching and teaching. Would you share with me a couple of types of folks who might be aided by you?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I help people with transitions of all sorts, Could be relationship, it could be in terms of a substance they're using, they want to transition to a different life, transform to a different life. Very good at holding the space for that and meeting people where they're at. No judgment, no shame, no blame, no guilt, just love and curiosity. Certainly people who are looking to access their more creative and spiritual sides, and would like a guide or a coach, mentor. Several reach out for that. And I'm also adept at helping people with, grief and pain, because I've been there, and I have a lot of empathy for people who are going through stuff. And and then just like, you even get my share of businessmen that just want to learn stress management techniques and maybe pick up the guitar or something creative that they won't maybe let themselves. I used to be that guy too. And so there's just a natural resonance with people trying to discover things and new aspects of themselves. There may be more, but I think that's a good sample.
How do you, you mentioned earlier that you've had in the mid-2000s some business ventures that were not financially successful. How has your mindset changed? It sounds like this current path is working better on that front. Is that fair to say?
Very fair to say. It is, yeah.
How has your efforts as a business person, how has your mindset changed, is there an interaction with your spiritual journey that has informed that? Is there a literal business savvy that has blossomed as well? Why is this venture, from a business standpoint, why is this succeeding?
I feel like, we can maybe debate, was it 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, whatever the amount of this awakening and spiritual work and integration that I've done. I had to kind of plant the flag. I had to go get that piece, the musical piece, the spiritual piece, my daily practices, my rituals. I've learned to be more inclusive and broadening my worldview to include all humans, all humanity. And I can be more specific, but I can see now none of what I wanted to do could move forward until I included everyone. So there's a social justice aspect to my work, and just a general intention to may all beings be free, may all beings liberate themselves. So bringing it back to the business side, like now that has been integrated and established, now my more laser-like left brain intellect can get involved. I had those backwards in the past, and that caused a little bit of pain too, leading with the mind, trying to figure everything out. Now it's more sitting and waiting. Don't rush the morning sun, but then when it appears, take action. And I'm grounded in that action. Then I can use my business mind to get there efficiently, to make it sustainable, regenerative, and pick the right opportunities that are aligned with all of my values. So I think that sums it up. I can be more specific, but that's it. I had to discover who I truly am, and now everything flows from there.
I definitely am interested in hearing those tactics that the other side of your brain that you had acquired potentially in those earlier stressful days. And I really appreciate that it was the spiritual aligning that led that first most essential step for things to start to come together business-wise. So I do not in any way want to undervalue the wisdom that you just dropped with respect to that. But I am also, if you're willing to, share some of those specifics about how that manifests itself and how you recapture that business savvy in this new light.
Sure. There's what would formerly be the competitive nature, which was more win-lose 20 years ago. Like, I wanted to win. And it's very entrepreneurial, and evolution can be driven from that. I hit the wall, we discussed that, had the awakening. But then for a period of years, as I was integrating the creative and spiritual sides, I wouldn't say I disavowed the more masculine or business aspects, but I wasn't as interested. And now it's very clear to me that artists, healers, musicians, we're all entrepreneurs too, whether we like it or not. And not everyone has to embody that or go that path, but just taking responsibility for the entrepreneurial aspects, which come supernatural to me, but because they were tethered, Dave, to those old incarnations, those old industries, it took me a minute to reclaim those. And I think you're asking for specifics, but like that. It's not spiritual to be a martyr. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't.
And in terms of like your time is money.
Yeah, like
right.
It's okay to make a decent living. Yeah, some of that's still in process. for me. We are starting to actualize, and we're in the middle of manifesting and actualizing this. And a lot of it's not sexy. It's just a commitment to very, for those who are into astrology, Capricorn type year of just small structural steps, building foundations, building the containers, so that the message can receive and hold as word gets out. Hiring qualified people to do the things that I don't want to do, or maybe not be as proficient at, so I can focus my strengths, on the magic.
When you're meeting someone and you're interested in potentially bringing them onto your team and making financial decisions based on their guidance / legwork.
Yep.
How are you vetting someone like that? Is it a gut instinct? Is it more of a how are you picking those people?
It starts with the gut or the spirit or the intuition or an instinct, and then hand it over to the brain, as I mentioned. Like if there's not like an immediate recognition or resonance, it's a no. And but I vet the yeses, if that makes sense. So the gut will immediately show me the no. Nope, not the person. It'll show me the qualified yes. And sometimes you get the fuck yes, pardon my language, but like you just know beyond, like, that this is that, and you need to take action immediately. Most times though, it's just like the, okay, resonance, now let me see your work. And these are emergent, a lot of this is emergent. And so there's some, when things are in alignment, I think this is the way I would say it. There's a transformational author, his name's Kyle Cease. He's a former comedian and he's a brilliant speaker. And he described his organization, he's just like, we learned as we go. Like, if there was a software they had to learn, they just learned it. And like, it was eminently obvious when they had to, and it was the next necessary piece. So you can't just blindly start a venture and then like expect it to materialize through laws of attraction, that sort of thing. But if you have a core competency, if you have a message, for me, it's a hybrid of this music and healing counseling, and those worlds inform each other. The rest is emergent, and so there's a commitment to doing the administrative or the business side of things every day, but also it's easy to surrender because when something's needed, it's needed. Like, my producer, we're starting to play all these music festivals, and my producer's like, hey, we need an electronic press kit. And, we used to have one, then it was inactive, and it's like, okay, that's just next. Boom, that'll be done by tomorrow, and then it's like the photo shoot, done. Recording, done. You can just start there's a master list of things you can do, and then there's the emergent list of what is right in front of you. Where is the energy taking you? If you want me to unpack it more than that, I'm happy to. But it's the same process, the intuition and then verify.
You mentioned earlier that you, with your daughter, Ella, you said, correct?
Yes.
You said that it's about the quality time, not the quantity of time.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Ella is about 16 now? Or?
Yes, correct.
And are you, is Ella's mother is currently your wife?
No.
Would you be open to sharing a little bit about the arc of that relationship? And are you currently in a relationship?
No, I'm not currently in a relationship.
How do you find, are you looking to make connections on a level of being present with people and whatever happens, or do you have in your sights the idea of meeting somebody who's going to be a long-term partner?
All right, there's a few questions in there. I appreciate all of them. I really do. So I'll start with the arc of the relationship with her mom. Like I met her when I was living in that other world, and I started growing and I started transforming, and life started shifting. So there was a lot of tension 15 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. We co-parent pretty well now, and that's where it's all about Ella. I've grown a lot through that relationship ending. It taught me a lot, and I don't want to speak in platitudes, but that is where it needs to be, and she loves her daughter, and that's what I appreciate most about her. As far as my arc, over the last 18 months, I've experienced 6 or 7 losses in my life, or endings, and it got real deep, and that's where a lot of good song material came from. But through my healing and integration process, which is still continuing, I learned a lot about PTSD and anxiety and things like panic even. And once I integrate those things, and I have, then I share them. So it's the same thing. If I thought all that was happening to me, I would have a different perspective. But just that, bring it back to that "Don't Rush the Morning Sun," theme or construct. What wasn't apparent 12 months ago is now fully apparent, that I'm now researching solutions for people in addiction and people in trauma, with the direct experience of having experienced some of that myself. And there's wonderful empathy that's born from that direct experience. It's like human to human. So back to the question. Yeah, I know a long-term partner is in my future, and I totally want more kids, which was revelatory over the last 12 months. I love being a dad, and I'm not in any rush. I'm going to school and working building the new foundation and platforms for my life mission. But I know she's coming, and I look forward to that.
And what is it currently that you are in school for?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I'm studying clinical mental health counseling at Adler University, and so I'll be on the other side of that. I'll be an LCPC, licensed professional counselor. I've been asked by a couple to go the doctoral route. I haven't made that decision yet. It's something I'll know when I know.
I was wondering if you'd be willing, Eric, to take this out with me on a song, an improvised song called "I'll Know When I Know," or I'll Know When I'll Know.
Nice.
And maybe just for the sake of musical variety, we'll try something like this. And it's just, I'll know when I'll know.
All right.
Kind of a jazzy, bluesy type thing. Feel free to jump in if you want at any time. Yeah.
Know when I know. I'll know when I know. Not afraid to grow when I grow. It may just seem so. Sometimes feeling low, but I know when I know. Look forward to the day. Path is clear, it's all okay. Looking forward to the day. I will see the way, I'll see the way. I'll know when I know.
I'll know when I know.
I'll grow when I grow.
I'll grow when I grow.
Through all the ups and downs and lows, I'll know when I know.
I'll know when I know.
I'll know when I know.
I'll grow as I grow.
You know I grow when I grow.
I'll know when I know.
I will know when I know.
And I'll get to show. Get to feel.
When
Get to
I
hear.
know. I'll know when I know.
Eric, thank you so much for joining me.
That was a real treat, Dave. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate you.
Thank you again to Eric Majeski. If you'd like to reach out to Eric about his transformational coaching practice, he can be reached at eric.majeski@gmail.com. You can also follow his band on Instagram and Facebook at Mystic Hearts Band. Thank you again, Eric. All the best, and talk soon. That wraps up this episode of Crazy Right with Dave Asher. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider writing a review or rating this podcast. And of course, we would love it if you subscribe. I'm Dave Asher, and I'm glad to be here.